there's no team in the league that can deal with a major injury that knocks a player out for the postseason for one of their top two guys. None of the contenders. The Rockets can't deal without Harden or Westbrook, even though Russ isn't playing that well. The Bucks, as amazing as Giannis is, if Middleton goes down, they're done as championship contenders. The Clippers obviously need Kawhi and Paul George. So, yeah, the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. The Lakers are clearly the best team in the Western Conference. Some people might push back and say Milwaukee's the best team in the NBA. And the Lakers are the favorites to represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. If they don't have that guy or LeBron, if they don't have 3 or 23, then that story changes immediately. Fortunately for the Lakers, this is a badly bruised tailbone. He's going to miss a couple games, and given their schedule after the 2-game road trip that they've essentially already said he's going to miss at Dallas and at OKC, they're home for Cleveland and Orlando. So if you want to, you give Anthony Davis a full week, a little more than a week off, and probably be fine, which is one of the reasons, Brian, it was so incumbent upon the Lakers to get off to the fast start they did. They've only had one bad week of basketball all year when they lost those 4 games. They've only lost 7 games all season. They're 4.5 up on the rest of the conference, and we were almost at the midway point. So even if in a stretch where they could have gone 4-0, they go 3-1 because they lose one of these 2 road games without Anthony Davis, they still have a cushion that's going to be very important at the end of the year when the Lakers actually do rest their players as opposed to during the year the way some teams are doing. But yeah, I mean, I see no major weaknesses with this basketball team, aside from they need to moderate Rajon Rondo's minutes and give Alex Caruso more of those minutes. Maybe they trade Kyle Kuzma. But if Anthony Davis and LeBron are there, they are the best team in the Western Conference and arguably the best team in the whole league.
You're right. If Anthony Davis and LeBron are there, they are the best team probably in the NBA. But if either one of those guys is missing, that burden falls to the other guys so quickly. And of course, any team without one of their stars is going to be trailing. But here's the thing, and this is what Anthony Davis means to this basketball team. A great defender. Yep. He protects the rim. And this basketball team is second in the league in fast break points. And so they're out and running because of those rebounds, because the rim protection that Anthony Davis provides you there. And listen, LeBron plays much better defense this year than he had in the last couple of years, but that's still not what LeBron's there for. He's there to distribute, to get things going, to score points as well. Anthony Davis is a catalyst for this basketball team. Of course they need him and LeBron to get going. The other part to this is that, and you mentioned it too, they went out hard this season. They wanted to get home court advantage. Yep. They wanted to get those big leads and to be able to rest their guys towards the end of the season. This kind of hurts that a little bit. And now LeBron has to go harder. How does this impact LeBron as the season goes on, especially if it's more than a couple games that Anthony Davis will be out?
So that's the question. But luckily they're through the tough part of that stretch that they started off this season. There's an easy part to start. They had the tough December. It gets a little bit easier for them now. So if someone is going to go down, take a couple games off, this would be that stretch. But the question then becomes, like, how much can LeBron do by himself, or how much can AD do by themselves? How much do they need each other for this Lakers thing to work?
Well, thus far this season, Anthony Davis, when LeBron hasn't been on the court, the Lakers have been a bad team. When it's just they have not figured out an offense, and I don't think that's a reflection on Anthony Davis. I think it's a reflection on the Lakers do not have a playmaker they trust other than LeBron. So LeBron, when he and AD are on the court together, they outscore the opposition by 12.5 points. When LeBron is on the court without Anthony Davis, they outscore the opposition by 12 points, almost the same. When Anthony Davis is on the court without LeBron, the Lakers actually get outscored. So if you're going to miss one of them for a week or so, right now, this moment, Anthony Davis would obviously be the option because they actually have depth in the front court. One of the reasons they're being outscored when LeBron goes to the bench is because Rondo's coming in. Rondo's been really bad, and they need to give those minutes to Caruso. But the other key part is what you alluded to, which is getting out to the early start. We went into this year thinking there were 5 excellent teams in the Western Conference: the Lakers, the Rockets, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Jazz. The Mavericks have elevated themselves into that group, so there are 6. The Thunder, meanwhile, with Chris Paul, are a frisky 7 seed. But that is where the conference ends. The 8 seed right now is 14-20. I say that to say this. The 1 seed is so immensely valuable, not just because of home court advantage, because it's a de facto first-round bye. My concern for the Clippers throughout the year, going into the year, was they were going to load manage their way into a brutal first-round matchup. And you look at the standings today, and it's like, oh, the Clippers are the 4 seed. They would be playing Utah in the first round. Meanwhile, the Lakers would be playing the San Antonio Spurs. And so if the Lakers, if they, without Anthony Davis, lose 3 in a row, all of a sudden their lead evaporates. All of a sudden, all the work they did in the beginning of the season is almost for naught. I don't think that's going to happen. But the 1 seed is intensely valuable in the Western Conference this year because while the Nuggets are going to be fighting with, just to pick teams, the Thunder, and the Rockets got to deal with Dallas, and the Clippers and Jazz are going against each other, the Lakers would be coasting above the fray against Sacramento or Memphis or San Antonio or Portland. Whoever finds that 8 seed probably have an extra week of rest after sweeping that series. That's what you got to watch for in these next few games. Do the Lakers drop a game they shouldn't, 2 games they shouldn't, 3 games they shouldn't without Anthony Davis, and all of a sudden they are back in the muck with the rest of the Western Conference instead of clear of the field?
You're right. They certainly want to be able to coast through that first round of the playoffs. They want to be able to get their players some rest. When you watch this team with Anthony Davis on the floor, he is such a matchup nightmare. I mean, you can find ways to get the ball out of LeBron's hands. You throw a double team at him. You run at him every time he touches it. But Anthony Davis, no matter what position he's playing, the 4, the 5, the 3, sometimes getting the ball on the wing, he has the ability just to move around in spaces and be a matchup nightmare. And without that, again, LeBron's going to have to work so much harder. That puts him in a bad position in year 16 at 35 years old to finish the season healthy. That's the most important thing for this team. How do you finish the season? How healthy are you going into the playoffs? If this lasts longer than a week. I remember when I was 15 years old, I remember the day that I bruised my tailbone. I was skating, trying to turn around and go backwards, fell on my tailbone. I remember that day. That's how long that thing stuck with me because I was out for more than 2 weeks of playing football and basketball at the time. Anthony Davis, hopefully he comes back healthy in a quick time. But if this thing lingers, this is going to hurt their opportunity, especially in the first round of the playoffs.
And if you watch the game last night, I know LeBron had 31 if you look at the box score. He got, 25 of those points on threes and free throws. He's still dealing with that groin injury a bit. He doesn't have quite the burst. So we'll see without Anthony Davis, with LeBron, he was under the weather a bit yesterday, and you can tell from watching he's still dealing with a bit of a groin injury, how much of that load he can take on when they play the Mavs, a Mavs team that's played him in 2 excellent games already this year.
Right, despite all of that, a 30-point win over the Knicks, which is great. Roller skating or inline skating?
Roller skating.
That's adorable. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.